Hey folks, my guest today is going to be Harald Marbler. Harald is a World Cup freestyle mogul coach. He's been in the business for over 20 years, coaching for several different national teams. He's coached for the US ski team, he's been the head coach for Austria and Germany, and is currently the World Cup coach for Sweden. Throughout Harald's career, he's coached Olympic gold medalists, world champions, World Cup podiums. He's coached everything in between. It was really awesome to be able to have this conversation with him and learn more about his journey. I really hope you folks enjoy this episode. Thanks.
Harald, thank you so much for taking the time and coming. It's actually worked out. This is good. First time to be able to do this in Idre. I've wanted to do some of these, but like in person. We did one last year after one of the days of training. We got some of the French guys together, and that was a fun one to do, but we haven't been able to do the video. So looking forward to this, and thank you for
Thanks for
taking
the
the
invite.
time.
Thanks for the invite.
My pleasure. And my opinion, you're one of the best coaches in the world, and it was most certainly like really re-enhanced and reinforced when I went through and was kind of doing some of the research on this. I mean, your coaching career and just the last few years, let alone like when you got your start and everything into this, it's really remarkable. So
thank you.
Yeah. Starting off, like, how did you kind of find your way into mogul skiing? Because I know with my own journey and spending time in Austria, Buckelpiste is not one of the most popular kind of sports. So how did you find your way and get your start?
It was actually way more popular by that time.
Okay.
But I mean, it was more people doing it. And I was always in alpine skiing. That's how most of the kids grew up in Austria.
Yeah.
Especially like if you live close to a ski resort and you stood on your skis like 1.5 years after you were born. So, and then in the late 70s, begin 80s, there was this group. Showed up under the chairlift and in the woods in the ski resort where I was always skiing and wearing this fancy, funny clothes, doing weird stuff. And I thought, oh, that's cool.
Okay.
That's cool.
So you got a little bit.
But the first that showed up, they were jumping, like doing aerials in the very unique first raw form, and then ballet. So I thought that looks cool with the long poles and the short skis. Pretty soon figure out that's not for me.
Gotcha, yeah.
And then there was always these two slopes we had, like they were always in the sun, nice snow, nice bumps, and I'm gonna try that.
Okay. So how old were you, like when you kind of, that was popular then?
First contact I had was 12.
Okay.
And then I came into with 13 because some friends of my older brother came in. So my older brother came in, I came in. By that time, I also had to quit with alpine because of school.
Okay.
So I sneaked into the next career.
Gotcha.
Because that started on the weekends and then just skiing there, and then came more and more into it, and then came sitting.
Now, what was it like then, I guess, compared to now? Because I know now, I mean, it just seems like it's so, you had the three different disciplines, as you were saying, right? You had ballet, you had aerials, you had moguls. So I'm just curious, like the bigger differences as you start, like you're seeing people doing some pole flips, the funny poles, and an aerial, like there's so, it's such a big draw.
This was more circus hot dog.
Okay.
Circus hot dog, having fun on skis, which is quite a good thing.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
But now we're looking at a totally 100% professional sport all year round.
Yeah. So back, it was just more exhibition and people just trying to...
The ones we saw, in US there was already Pro Tours and there was already things going on, like competitions, big competitions.
So how did you kind of make your way going into World Cup and Europa Cup and kind of finding, what was that path for you? You say you kind of get a little bit of that start, but then when do you make it a little bit more serious with trying to balance school?
Well, the most important for me to really get into it in a professional way was my first injury.
Okay.
Because before, like, there was not much training going on in the summer before. Like, training is for those who can't. Yeah, fuck that, we can. Well, that quote is actually from a former Austrian alpine skier, Werner Grissmann.
Okay.
Who was like a really badass.
Yeah. Well, he's got to be with a quote like that.
I mean, we were a little bit like that. But then I got my injury, and I really don't like doctors. Or doctors working on me. So after that, no, I don't want to have a surgery again. So I started training.
Okay. So
I
what was
became
it?
more professional and professional.
Knee injury?
Yeah, it
Okay.
was an ACL.
Gotcha. Dang, you can't get out alive with those.
Nope.
You can't get it out. Had to be a lot different, the surgery and techniques kind of back then now. I mean,
Yeah.
it seems like the...
Well, I mean, I had the luck to be in Austria, and I really, really have a good system from the ski federation, as you know.
Yeah.
So we could choose the best doctors, and like talking to some Alpine guys who, yeah. And I'm still in touch with the doctor now.
Ah, that's good. It's good to have
Sending me some other clients there, and not that many, because thankfully I didn't have too many injuries in my athletes. So
yeah. No, that's good. So getting into some of the mogul, what did you enjoy or kind of drew you into that? You said, you know, some of the ballet really wasn't for you, or some of the, what was the draw for the moguls and kind of going
well, the
down that?
moguls, I could use my skiing, with my skiing basics that I had from Alpine, and still go be a little bit the wild boy, the wild kid. And I've always been in arts, and I also went to art school, so that was quite a good combination. So being a little bit more the outside kid doing something.
Yeah. That's always one of the things that I really love about, I mean, you know, it's freestyle, right? You get to have that art and like that expression. That's one of the things that I always loved. And, you know, especially in the US, you really are able to see that diversity from different clubs, you know, from the east to west, and just how they have that different style and turn and like the creativity. You know, that's one of those things I always loved as like an athlete and a competitor. You know, I was like, oh, I want to have my turn. You know, I want the tip drive of like a Bloom, but then I want to have that range of motion of like a Jean-Luc, that absorption extension, and then some of that free like spirit of Edgar, just like aggressive kind of on the edge. And I feel like it's one of those things where you can really be able to take those bits and pieces and have that style and art and be able to put that into your skiing, you know?
I wouldn't even say that I'm a style guy, because like everybody is different, and you can't teach somebody a style from somebody else, especially not from somebody who skied in the 90s, 80s.
Yeah.
So for me, my approach is more like to help everybody to get as far with the motions he has and the personality and the body he has, because the body basically defines your skiing.
Right. Interesting. So placate to the body type and kind of what that they're bringing. Interesting. Okay.
Because
so,
like if you look a little bit at all the skiers that I coached, there's not too many who ski the same.
no, that's true. Yeah.
But everybody made his way in his own way. So
No, but I mean, one thing you can say about the Swedes is that they ski
fast
and aggressive, you know, I mean, it's so fun to watch them. You know, they just have that reckless abandon. They're clearly on the edge. And I think that can be, I mean, it's exciting, and especially in the sport that we have, it's so exciting. And I don't know, I mean, how well or how hard is that to be able to like teach? Like, do you think it can be taught, or do you think that some of it's like those boys kind of all came up together and they're all pushing each other? Like,
well, we have the luck that they all like, they're pretty very good friends with each other. So they always like, they hang out together all the time. And most of them live in the same town. Well,
gotcha.
so like there's a lot of dynamic in that and pushing each other by that.
Okay. So being around each other, yeah. Now, so going back a little bit, how did you kind of make the transition? Was it that injury that led you to the transition into coaching?
No, there was the transition that led me into training and do it more professional.
More professional. Okay, gotcha.
The coaching transition was way later. It was in the year of the 2002 Olympics.
Okay.
We were kind of in a weird situation, because we didn't really have a coach the last 2 years when I skied. So I skied. We were traveling, like it was me and Margarita.
Okay.
And we had a physio. The physio was filming for us, and then I did all the coaching and skiing, and it was kind of a stupid idea because it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I didn't get really better. I was too old anyway.
Okay.
So my horizon was done, and
okay.
There was this one competition where I was like in Saint-Lary, where there was 2 competitions on one weekend. And then I figured out I'm too long in the sport as an athlete when I got worse points for the better run.
Okay.
The result was about the same, but
yeah.
Yeah, but then I quit during the season, like before Christmas, and then started coaching directly
Okay.
full time with Margarita, and that was
Gotcha. Yeah, it was
That was
very,
the-
very successful. Very, very successful. Where am I? Yeah, 37 podiums, 7 wins, 2 World Championships medals, 3 Olympics. Like that's
still the highest scores.
yeah. No,
Two
like
highest.
so. Getting into that coaching, like what was the drive or the reasoning for you to get into like that coaching? Like what do you love about, or what drives you in your coaching?
I was always very curious in things, how things work.
Okay.
And that started already way earlier. Like computer-wise, I was on a Mac, but by that time there was not many Mac experts, so I
Mm-hmm.
brought myself in, like figuring out by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Skiing, I had way more background from all the alpine stuff, and then the education. Also had the education as a ski instructor.
Sure, which is a
Then
high level.
when
of
I started coaching, then I had to do the education as a coach, the Austrian coaches education, which is quite a high level.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like an online thing, like you really have to go to the university and do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the beginning, when they said you should do that, I said, fuck, who's going to tell me something? I know everything already. I figured out there was some things to learn.
Sure, yeah.
And that was also kind of the point, okay, there's some useful things, so maybe I should look into more things that can be useful.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started looking in everything and find useful things for my work in everything almost.
Ah, interesting. Okay. So curiosity, that's I like that. That's interesting. And it's not the
Curiosity
first time
and the will to learn and be open for ideas.
right.
There's a lot of ideas out there, and a lot of, especially at the very beginning, there was a lot of rocket scientists showing up also, like it was at the beginning, like measuring things with GPS. And
Interesting.
by that time it was too early. Now you can do way more with that, but
Mm-hmm.
does it really help so much?
Yeah. Yep. No, that's really, I mean, that curiosity, I feel like that also helps you be able to kind of adapt and be able to change, you know, especially like look at like American sports and like football or something like that, you know, those cutting edge of like offenses or defenses are always like adapting and changing. And especially like it seems like if you don't adapt or change, like you'll die, right? You're constantly trying to change into that new thing, and which I think can be hard, right? Because in certain levels, like if you have that level of success, like the success that you've had, and to be able to continually like change and adapt, I guess that's part of the fun part, that curiosity though. Yeah, always makes a little bit of a difference, right?
And
So you Margarita until 2010, and then you decided or made the switch, and that's when I first met you, of skiing with the U.S. with Lasse. You guys came over, and what was that transition like for you coming to the States?
for me it was
Maybe
fun
laugh
because
right off
like
the bat.
I've used to work on my own all the time. I was always on my own. Okay, I got resources from the Ski Federation in Austria, like I had access to experts.
Yep.
And also I looked up experts by myself, like especially when with all the new jumps that came up, with aerial jumps and that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I was on my own, and then I thought, I'm gonna be cool in the US, like we're a big team, so we're gonna have meetings every week and talk about athletes with the physiotherapists, with the strength coaches, how can we make, and then watch video together, how can we get better.
Mm-hmm.
I came there, it was totally the opposite. I mean, we were a good group of coaches, like we were a good fit.
Yeah.
All 4 of us, like there was Scott Rawls was our boss, Lasse, who I knew already for a long time because we've been working together when he was in Norway.
Yeah.
And Garth.
Right.
So that was our group. But and I figured out like the physio department is working to look as good as possible on the 3rd floor, strength coaches. So that testing and everything didn't have anything to do with that much what we wanted them.
Yeah.
And also the periodization was quite weird in the strength training by that time. I think it's much better now.
Mm-hmm.
But by that time it was kind of weird. And then there came this other Austrian coach. He was the strength coach
Okay.
for Alpine.
Okay.
So we had our meetings in the evening, far away from home, talking about things. And I thought, fuck, everything that I learned about strength training is so much different here. And then I asked him, so what do you think about that? Like,
Sure.
don't they have a little bit not enough periodization or something?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, really? Did you figure out that? Guess why I'm here.
Interesting.
Yeah, but that got much better, I think. And
Throughout.
yeah,
Yeah. No, it's interesting, like all those resources and tools you would think that would get kind of more taken advantage.
Yeah.
And I think, as you say, like that's changed.
I
a
was
little
just
bit.
surprised, but maybe also my expectations were way too high.
Yeah. Interesting. No, but it's like, it's funny you say that. I mean, you guys had crushed it as a staff though, right? I mean, it was a pretty good, you look at Rawls and Garth and Lasse, and looking back, I mean, you know, it had to be pretty fun time in the US, and those athletes. I
It
mean,
was a
other than-
wonderful time for me. I
Yeah.
learned a lot there.
Yeah. Good. And you enjoy, like, would you ever go back, spend more time in the US other than DV?
I would go directly, especially Utah. I love Utah.
It's a good spot.
I got
You got
into-
good skateboarding there. I know you're a big skateboard guy.
Yes, I picked it up there.
Is that where you picked it up? I know you and Rick would always, right? You go with Shaner a little bit.
Yeah, I activated him again. So I came there and I was 40, 41, and then I always saw on TV when I grew up as a kid, like this pool skating, and
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to do. But we didn't have that stuff. And then in the office in Park City, there was this pool. I went down, tried a skateboard, and then sat in my car, drove down to Salt Lake, bought one, and then I was hooked. I still
Then you were-
skate now.
Yeah. Do you?
Oh yeah.
Is it a little bit more like set up for it? Are there more places where you can do it, where you can skate? Yeah. Okay. So
Like
it's
when I
a
came back from the US, we got good skate parks in Austria.
okay.
Sweden is a skate mecca, but that's more south. But we also got a skate park in Åre now.
Okay.
And I came much more into pump track skating.
Pump track.
It's
That's
it's wonderful. It's
Yeah.
a good workout.
yeah. No, that's cool.
And then there was this, in my first year, was a little bit more regional working in US
Okay.
to learn about the system and everything. And
Yeah.
then I was sent to the Junior World Championships in Jyväskylä.
Your vascular. Yep.
Where I always also met Avital for the first time.
Okay.
But she wasn't skiing too much because she was a wild kid by that time and went to the hospital.
Yeah, I think that was when she ruptured or cut her spleen or something like that.
Exactly. And they also met Rick.
You met
were
okay, so
talking
you
and
met him at
talk-
Junior Worlds.
Yes.
Okay.
And we're talking, and he was talking about surfing and him growing up skateboarding in the 70s.
Yeah.
Why don't we go skateboarding when you come back? Yeah, you know. Okay. But then we came back, I called him directly. Was a little bit hesitant at the beginning, but then I was just amazing what that guy in his age picked up in such a short amount of time.
Yeah. No, he's a good athlete. He still does those surf trips. He still
Yeah,
goes on
I
those.
just
Yeah.
talked to him like 2 days ago.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But now he's more into surfing. I think he needs somebody to kick his butt.
I think so. I think he needs, maybe when you're out for, you don't really have time when you go out for Deer Valley. It's all business. I was going to say.
Well,
maybe,
it's a little bit too
It's a little bit
snowy, maybe.
No, but
We had
now
it
with the
1 year.
Woodward, they have the
Yeah.
Woodward. You could go in there. So there's a couple spots in there. I've actually never checked out the pump track in Woodward, but I've heard that it's pretty sweet.
But it was like in one of these years when I was in the US, we had a skate session with some Euro coaches.
Oh, okay.
There was Jesper and some of the Norwegians and
Gotcha.
David. It was a fun time there.
That's good. So do you still skate like?
Oh yeah,
How often? Like
every day when I
every
can.
day?
No.
Damn.
It's like, especially with the pump track, it's easy. You go there, 20 minutes and you're done.
That's pretty sweet. Okay. I didn't realize it was like a daily thing for you. I thought it
Yeah.
was just like a couple times. All right. That's sweet.
If the conditions are fine, yeah.
Yeah. You got to figure out a way how to put that in your bag.
Skateboard
Is
is
it back-
sitting there.
How do your bags not go overweight, dude? It's a pro.
Priorities.
Yeah, priorities. So you have your time in the U.S. Best 4 years ever. That's what it sounds like to me. Spending that time in Salt Lake, Utah, and then what's the transition there? I know you got to spend some time with some awesome athletes like Joe Disco, and you bring him on to help you out a little bit when you start coaching for Germany, because you get that team going with Laura and Tim and Felix and who else? Julius, right? You had a whole crew. Leah, right? Did Leah ski? Yeah. Okay. So you had a whole transition there. What was that?
Well, the
was that
thing
like?
was like, there was quite a big change in the US system in the last year. And then I
Right.
was also like, had my girlfriend
Okay.
in Europe. So yeah, made my way back. And then there was this opportunity with Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, some wouldn't see it as an opportunity, but I always saw potential in that team.
Mm-hmm.
But the ski federation is a little funky. And right when they got kicked out of the ski federation, I thought, let's show them that they're wrong.
Okay.
So I wasn't even hired by the ski federation. I was hired by the athletes, by a group of athletes.
Okay.
And my first meeting with the ski federation was like their sports director. I don't know what his problem was, but he never liked freestyle. And the first meeting was, the first thing he said to me, I have a problem with you, and you made a big mistake. Yes. Great to meet you, I'm Harald. But that started something in me, I'm going to show you.
Right.
And before they had like 2 finals in 8 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
And the excuse why they got kicked out was, it's dying, it's nothing going on, like they're not good enough. So I should make a plan for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And when I submitted the plan, they started laughing. And they said, okay, if half of this happens, we end in the first year. Wow. So the results were better because Laura had already top 10 at the World Championships in the first year.
Wow.
And then, no, you can't sell that sport. Have you tried it? Yeah. We send out about 20 emails. Well, that's selling, yeah. That's a nice try. You did your homework.
Yeah.
So that was quite a thing, and that just like drove me on. And then I was 4 years when I did basically the work of the whole ski federation, even with the marketing and everything, for that little group.
For that, yeah.
Yeah, totally outside of the ski federation. We didn't get anything from them.
So no funding, no, it's just
no
those
funding,
athletes came together, and then because I remember you guys had like stickers, German freestyle team, and like all that stuff, and you guys were starting to go with interesting. So that was all just you and the kids trying to get that out.
Yeah, I did all the
more and
graphic design, web design, everything.
Everything.
And even like the funding, like looking for funds, like for donations and everything, and trying to find sponsors.
Gotcha. That's a lot of work.
Oh yeah.
How did you, so what, like the plan that you ended up putting together, how long did that take to kind of come up with what you wanted, or where you saw the potential, as you say, for like where the team could go? Like how long did it take for you to kind of come up with that?
You mean with the idea or to see the result?
To see the result.
That was already there in the first year.
It was already, yeah, with Laura.
So it was like a path, like step by step. In that year, we're going to have so many athletes in finals. And we're going to have maybe one top 10 and on like that.
That's pretty, yeah, because
and everything was there because I didn't write in the plan more than one podium, and there was a podium in 4 years.
Yeah, yeah, no, and the team now seems like it seems like Moguls is definitely growing there, and like because it was pretty strong. I feel like in the 90s, early 2000s. Who was it? Gerhard Blokel, right? I'm probably butchering how you say that. Yeah. Okay. All right. That was actually like one of my dad's favorite. At DV, we always enjoyed watching him ski.
Him tomahawking out.
He had one really good crash in there. He had one really good crash.
He was the master of crashes.
And then Tatiana, like Mittermeier, obviously, like, skiing for Germany, had an unbelievable career.
Oh yeah.
All the World Championships medal, the silver at Nagano, and so you would think that there would be some support for it in the system, and then it kind of just fizzled out.
By that time, there was a lot of support.
Yeah, and now it seems like is it back in the federation now? Is that kind of how
partly,
it got led? Partly. Yeah. Okay.
So Anya is doing a really great job there. So.
Yeah.
And I think she's paid by the federation at least.
Okay.
So that burden is away from the skiers.
That's great.
So they're opening up a little bit more, but.
And so you had another quad there essentially with them, and then what was the opportunity for Sweden? How did Lasse was like or did you decide, like, how did that kind of transition from Germany, and what led you to where you are now?
The last meeting with that director of sports was a little bit frustrating.
Okay.
Like very frustrating. I said, okay, I've done everything I can. You got more than you could imagine, and still you said that's not enough. Well, look at your fucking downhill team. By that time.
Yeah. Not getting any results or anything, so you just decided.
And for them, it was always a money issue, but I don't think money is the issue. It's the passion that's the issue. The passion and the work that you put into it.
Right.
but it's also how much you're willing to sacrifice for that. And I maybe sacrificed a little bit too much in that project, but
You think so?
yeah, but it was worth it.
And why would you say, why was it worth it?
Because I achieved what I wanted to achieve.
Yeah. Well, that's what makes it all worth it, right?
Well, result-wise, not
Yeah, no.
not financially, but
Right.
that's not what drives me.
Right.
And if money drives you, then do something else. Then you're in the wrong sport anyway. So
Definitely. Definitely. So, yeah. It's interesting that I just wrote down that the passion, you know, not money not being the issue, because that's always seems to be one of those things like in our sport or in like winter sports, right? With skiing, you know, it's always like, well, that's not really in the, but, you know, but I do definitely agree with you in that, like, no, like the passion about if you had more of that energy and some of that towards the sport would probably be able to help it grow and be able to succeed more, right?
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that definitely.
So the passion and the love for the sport is the most interesting, the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
dedication, like how much you're willing to put in there.
Right. How much you're willing to put in, how much you're willing to kind of care. So for you, I guess, thinking back a little bit earlier when you're younger, still like getting into the sport, or like who have been some of those inspirations for you, have kind of helped shape you throughout your career and kind of your thinking
so
and
many.
that curiosity and
That's so many.
I'm sure it's usually a laundry list. I know it's
Yeah.
usually a laundry list.
There's way too many.
Too many to come up
And
with.
it's like even people that are not even known. They probably said something at that time, and I thought, okay, yeah, maybe, why not?
Give it a try.
Yeah.
And part of that is that curiosity. So, you know, somebody giving you a little bit of simple input or something like that, or a good quote
The
for you.
most thing I would say at the very beginning for my fundamentals, I learned from Margarita,
Okay.
because like she came from the old Soviet system when everything had to be like body tension. If you think this is body tension, this is bullshit. This is body tension. And this is like the detail. And if you don't have that, you need to find it. Well, that's what you think you're flexible. No, you're not flexible. You need to work hard on that. But now with the newer generations, you can't do that like that. Like, oh, you have to. So you need to find ways to make them want it by themselves.
Right. That is the art. That is the art. Yeah.
The game.
The game. Definitely the game. And so for me, like, how was that dynamic of coach wife, like being able to go through, because I'm going through that right now. So you got a couple tips for me I can write down?
Well, I think you, like, you never know everything from the outside, because like you see what was there, but it was tough sometimes. It was really tough because she had quite a high temper. So yeah, and we had our fights, but in general, like, we divorced 2 years before she quit.
Okay.
But for different reasons.
Yeah.
It was more like we had different views about the future.
Right.
And we're still very good friends. We're still in touch monthly, weekly.
Yep.
And we still like, she's still like, we still work together 2 more years, even if we were divorced.
Right. Yeah.
Which went pretty well as well. But
right.
It's a tough one.
Yeah. No, it's
because you're there all the time.
Yep.
There's no room to escape from each other. Like, you know, you travel with each other, live with each other.
Live with each other, yeah.
24 hours.
24/7. That's for sure. Yeah. I feel like being able to, we are able to separate. We do a pretty good job of on the hill stuff.
It seems
off the
like
hill.
that, yeah.
Like we try to do our good job with the communication. And for me, that's one of like always the biggest things.
It's impressive.
Is being
because I've been there.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no. So, okay. All right.
I know we always didn't look that relaxed like you guys do.
It's all fun and games. I've definitely, the coach has definitely gotten a few tears out of her. Yeah. So I try to, but we do a good job. Like she'll come home and be like, my coach was mean to me today. I just need a hug from my husband.
Yeah, but that's what people thought with me as well. But in reality, I'm very sure Margarita would agree. It was like, I never hit her. She hit me twice.
Yeah, that temper.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was actually funny. One time straight with the ski ball on the head.
Ski ball on the head?
Yeah.
I haven't gotten that yet. Don't be giving tall ideas, dude.
Mm.
That's funny. So,
But it didn't matter. She won the competition afterwards, so it was good for something.
it's all work. Yeah.
So if it
Good
helps,
motivation
helps
then,
for
right?
winning,
Yeah.
take it, Bobby.
Okay.
It just hurts a little bit.
All right. All right. I can take a pull to the head.
That's under the dedication part.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I guess that chalks up to how much that passion and how much you're willing to sacrifice. I guess a little bit of bruising wouldn't. I'm up for it. Might actually make me look a little bit better too. A little bruise in there, you know.
Well, I never had that, so that was good.
So for coaching aspect, just like life for you, I mean, one of the things you talk about is that curiosity and that passion. What kind of pieces of advice would you have for others, whether they're getting into coaching or just like in life? What approach or what do you think would be probably the best avenue for them that you could offer up?
To learn. Be open to learn.
To learn. Okay.
Because that's the most important thing. Never stop learning.
Mm-hmm.
There's always something that can help you.
Yep. Now, is that just for you? Is it all aspects? Does that just fit with the curiosity? Like,
Yeah, but that's the most, in my mind, one of
Sure.
the most important.
right, is being able to just continually learn, never stop, and I mean, because it is one of those things, right? It's never the end of the road.
No.
Like there's always another mountain to climb. There's always another thing, right? And have you seen it as a coach where, or just in like where athletes kind of they reach a certain aspect and they feel like, all right, I finally like arrived, like I'm good now, and I don't need to kind of continue to. Have you seen that happen before?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But then comes the curiosity again. How can I make that person better? Without understanding, without the person even understands what's happening and wants it by himself.
Interesting. Yep. Being able to push the right buttons. Now, how many different, because one of those things I always think about in coaching and that I really love about coaching is the different personalities that you have to deal with, right?
Yeah.
I always love just trying to figure out and tinker, because what you say to one athlete, you might have to say it the same thing, but a completely different way, right? Like some of the athletes, you kind of got to.
Or don't even say it, say something else.
Right, exactly. Say it a different way to be able to motivate them. Like, hey, dude, like this is like some people you have to be much more softer or gentle, right? Some people you can be a little bit more hard on, and I always find that out for me at least is one of those favorite things about coaching.
Yeah, because it's funny, because most of the people talking about styles, technique, but one of the more important things is like reading body language.
Yeah.
Because you need to figure out the problem before it's even there.
Mm-hmm.
Or before a little thing becomes a problem. And you
Right.
can see that before mostly.
Mm-hmm. See it start to snowball before your eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are like some of those I guess failures through coaching or either on the hill or whatever else that you learned from, right? You took like, okay, I made the mistake here, I didn't do this, and now you make that adjustment for the future and then you see it pay off. Have you does any come to mind of where you like, because I have a few that I could think of.
There were so
that for
many
me,
mistakes that we did in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like believing you know it all, and then like, oh, this is for this big competition that we need to come with the new jump. That's what we're gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
Nah.
Yeah.
But it's okay to make mistakes, but you gotta learn something from that mistake.
Yeah.
Don't repeat the mistake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you can repeat that like less and less, that's always gonna be a good thing. I feel like there's been a bunch where I have at least really tried to look back, and I always feel like, you know, it's as they say, like you learn way more from the mistakes than from when everything's going well and you got that momentum on your side, everything's rolling in that right direction, right?
But what's very important with that case, like make notes.
Mm-hmm. Are you a big note
Oh, no.
taker? Yeah. So is it like do you do post-it notes, or
I
do
have all
you
different kind of lists.
you got all? So you like to do lists?
Oh,
Yeah, me too. Do you like? Would you rather? Do you do any like the voice notes
no,
with your phone? Like, have
no.
you? Because I know some people like to do the
I don't
voice.
even like voice messages.
You don't like the voice
No,
messages? Yeah. Okay.
it takes too much time to listen to them.
It
It's
does.
easier to read.
That's true. That's true. I feel like it also like you get more intent for some, putting like actual like pen to paper, being able to kind of write out that thought and then being able to look back on it. I feel like it at least gives me like more intent of what the change needs to be and everything else. Like, so you feel that as well.
Yeah.
And okay. I like to do the post-it notes sometimes if it's like something I need the next morning because I'll be forgetful, but I'll do like a Sharpie and I'll put like a post-it note like on the front door before I'm leaving or something. And I'm like, oh, it's good. I need to remember that for the.
Yes, kind of started with that saying, okay, I have my journals about every athlete anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like notes where we could work more, what happened there, how I reacted there.
Yeah.
And I have probably one of the biggest video archives of runs.
You got a big archive?
Oh yeah.
Gotcha. So how long have you?
Because like even if I have some time off and then I'm thinking about maybe there, and go back, watch it, and then okay, yeah, maybe there.
Interesting.
But it always also goes like that far that like when we travel,
Yeah.
and we stay in a hotel, and I'm making notes about the hotels around in that area. Maybe there's a hotel closer. So for next time I have to book something there, I know what is there. So I don't make the same mistake again to stay in a shitty hotel for a high price.
Right. No, it's smart.
Which is further away.
No, it's definitely smart. Makes sense for being able to keep track of that stuff and make the differences from year to year or place to place. I have some notes from last season of like where we stayed at certain stops and like, okay, I want to make sure I bring a few different items to be able to make sure that like you get a better night of sleep or you're more prepared food wise or whatever, just so on the hill it makes for a better experience and being able to so being able to take those notes and being able to look back is definitely. So do you type them out on the computer too, or do you do all?
Well, I have a system that's like synchronized on iPad, computer, and phone.
Tech guy, it's that style. It's
Well,
a good thing you know Mac early, so
that's
you can
pretty
just go
easy.
in.
That's Apple Notes, which is like
Apple Notes.
have it on the cloud.
See, I'm a Google guy, so I don't have nothing. I'm a Google guy, dude. Does that hurt you a little bit?
Nope. As long as it makes you happy.
Does make me happy. I think it's like more than half the world's on what is it, like 75% Android.
Yeah, but
you like Apple better. It's okay.
But if you
That makes
average, you
everybody
always
else
say,
happy.
like,
That just made all of my friends smile
you don't
because
need
they're
to
all
step
Apple.
out.
Yeah. Yep.
You
You're
don't
in the
want to be
walled
average.
garden.
You don't want to be like one of them.
Yep. In the walled garden. I like that. You don't want to be average. Yeah. Well, apparently I am average. But the camera quality is pretty good on that thing.
It looks nice.
So, one of the things just would like to talk to you about a little bit is your perseverance, because you've had the passion for the sport and you've been coaching for such a long period of time, and you've, as you say, like, you've kind of seen it all and had those different plans. Like, how much do you think perseverance really plays into that?
I don't really know. Perseverance. I have a problem with the word perseverance. What is it?
So that's like
I forgot it again.
No, that's so like sticking to something, right? Even when things aren't going well, kind of persevering and getting to the where rather than just like quitting and being done.
Well, it depends. Like sometimes you have to give up a plan and adopt a plan. So there you can't just like stupidly follow it. But if you know like it's a recipe where there's the potential, then you have to go that way. Then you have to be on that. If you know that's the only way, then you have to be on it.
No, that definitely makes sense.
It's only like when you see, okay, it doesn't go that right, okay. It's better to change and take another path.
I guess that's so. for you, like, and I know as you say there, like obviously it's being able to adopt, right? Stick to like what you want the end goal to be. But how hard can that be sometimes when you're kind of down in it? Because I think there's been times where, at least personally, like I've struggled to adapt, right? Because I'll see like a goal that I'm aiming for, and like, you know, I'm a thick-headed Irishman, so I will just stick to and keep banging my head against the wall, and then like look back on it and like, man, I really should have zigged a while ago. I've been fucking hitting my head against the wall for a
What
while.
the thing is like, what is your goal?
Right.
And it's also like a little bit problem with the goal setting. People are setting their goals sometimes in the wrong way. Okay, that the long-term goal can be high, but the daily goals, they need to change probably every day.
Right.
So what does it help me when I come to a venue where it worked last year that, okay, you can do a 10 on the first one and you can do a 10 grab on the other one, or
Sure.
and you come there and the conditions are totally different. So if you stick with that plan, frustration will be the result. So you need to adapt.
Right.
And if you have the goal, okay, we go there and we look how it is and then we make the plan.
Interesting. Yep. Being able
So
to
it's more, it
adapt
comes more in like in the fast adaptation and things that are happening.
Right. The daily. And will you have different plans or ideas kind of set up beforehand?
Oh yeah.
Well, like the athletes might not need to know, but like, hey, I have plan A, B, C, D, E, depending on what we show up to, and like what
That's
the
all
weather
there.
is
That's all
like,
there.
and like, yeah. So it's all.
And like most places, like we have been for many, many years, so there's really not that much of a change, but still.
Sure. Right. Yeah, the course.
I mean,
is
Deer
all,
Valley is Deer Valley, but it's still different every year in
Right.
a certain way. The base is the same.
Yep.
Still is a tough thing, but
And the routine, you can kind of be pretty similar. Like a lot of those, you say it's pretty well-oiled machine. You kind of know, and you know as an athlete, right? Like, all right, you're staying in pretty much the same hotels. You kind of know what that food's going to be. You kind of know. And will you have like some of the team? I guess it kind of depends on the kid or the athlete. Go back and look at old film of like some of the older runs, or is that more of something for you personally to be like, okay, this kind of reminds me of, you know, Deer Valley 2015 this year, that's kind of set up like that. So maybe if I give the athletes a view of it, like, hey, this is kind of to give you.
I'm not a big fan in looking back. I'm more a big fan in looking forward. Because if I look back all the time, and I know it happens a lot in our sport. Oh,
It does, yeah.
back in the 90s, it was the best skiing. Yeah, it was the best skiing for that time.
Right.
But now it's a different thing.
Yeah, no. I think that's great. Yeah, it's completely changed. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, those guys skied great for that time. So like those guys back then were those guys now.
Right.
These conditions, back in their conditions.
No, it's the same in like most of the sports, right? You look at the difference in NBA basketball or, you know, football, soccer, all that different stuff. Like it's just faster and faster. And
What the difference, like to see the difference in this sports, like in soccer, for example, or I don't know too much about baseball or football, basketball. I know a little bit, but one game looks like the other, more or less. I mean, some are more exciting, some are less exciting, but there's not such a technical difference. Like see a winning run from the 90s and see a winning run from now. That's something totally completely different. The same thing with skateboarding. Like there's also a big difference for mountain biking. There's a huge difference also.
Right. No, those differences definitely change a little bit. So what are you like always in being looking in looking forward? What are you is there anything on the horizon that you kind of have your, I guess, mind open to be able to make that adaptability? Like, because you talk about that curiosity and always wanting to kind of learn. So, because it seems like you guys always have a good idea of being ahead of what's kind of on the horizon, right? So, how do you, what can help, I guess, me or some of those others be on the lookout for what could be that change, right?
You're really trying to fool me in answering for that one.
Like what on the horizon? Is it books? Is it like, just a simple Google search, or I'll have to figure that out for myself?
I don't know. I'm very afraid I can't answer that one.
Okay, all good, all good. All right, I'll keep a lookout for what's on the horizon. I'll be curious. I'll be curious on the horizon to see what's coming. So talking to now, like you've made the switch and now you're with Sweden, kind of back on a little bit track there. What has this whole journey been like for you? Because I mean, the success has been crazy. I mean, you had Ludwig right into Walter, and you guys have had someone top 3 in the world, I think, every year since what, 2021? So the last like 3 years, obviously Olympic gold medal with Walter, and like it's we touched on it earlier, the aggression, the fun, and it's not like they all ski exactly the same. They all have their different styles. And Philip last year, just fantastic. I mean, the duels aspect that's now going to be in the Olympics. I mean, your team firing on all cylinders, and from just a fan's perspective on the outside to be able to watch, it's so much fun and so exciting. So I love what you have all the boys working on, and I'm excited. But what has that been like through that journey for you?
Well, I mean, every team is special, but this group is a little bit more special in a certain way.
Yeah.
Because like the work is quite easy with them, but
That's nice.
yeah, but it's not that easy as well. On the other hand, and as I said, like the team dynamics we have, that they push themselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably one of the most important thing, and like they're all friends, and that's not in many teams. Like when they all hang out together all the time.
Yeah.
And then we had a big hole. Like we thought we would have a hole, like after Felix, Oscar, and Ludwig quit.
Yeah.
And then we had these young guns coming up. I mean, I've seen Philip the first time when he was 13 or so.
Okay. 13, he probably has changed a little bit since then.
Oh yeah, he's changed a lot. He's changed a lot. He got way more mature.
That's good.
But you need these wild kids. Like it's always easier to shape a wild kid that's too fast, that's too big, that jumps too big, than having a kind of little bit more
Tame?
No, not tame. Like, how would you say that? Like, civilized kid to make that fast.
Okay. Right.
Or jump bigger. That's the more difficult thing.
Right. So it talks a little bit to like the fear aspect, right?
Yes.
Someone that's maybe got a little bit more of a bolt loose, that's not quite as afraid, like kind of has a little bit more of that, wants to go out and attack, and is.
But again, they are all different in a way. Like some are more professional, some are more focused on the pass.
Gotcha.
Some you need to help a little bit better on the pass. Some you need to fool into things.
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah, they're a fun group. I mean, what was that Olympic experience like with Walter in 2022? I mean, it's interesting times with COVID and with everything else, right? Kind of going on. And I mean, I remember that World Cup tour in Tremblant, like it was crazy. Just all the, different testing, what's going on, and masks, the whole 9 yards. And then you show up, you're getting tested every day in China, and the whole aspect of that. What was that experience like for you?
Well, it was horrible. Like with all the, I wasn't afraid about the disease. I was more afraid about getting tested, and it got me. And when was it? World Championships in Kazakhstan.
Right.
And I wasn't even sick. The only thing that I felt was like I didn't have any taste and smell.
Right.
But
and so then that's a good place to be for a few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. It was quite an experience. I watched a lot of series. Had a lot of time to watch videos. I still did the video for the team in the hotel.
Yep.
But it was like made me even more nervous and bringing me closer to a heart attack and seeing that stuff and not be able to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
But then going into the Olympics, it was even worse because like right before we left to the US, the daughter of my ex-girlfriend came home with COVID, which she said it was just like a cold.
Yeah.
I left the next day. So my first week in the US was like in fear, getting tested. I survived that one. That was, I think it was in Tremblant.
Okay.
Then talked with another coach quite a lot there, and then it was cold, so you could see all the moisture coming out.
Yep.
And that person got tested, so my next week was in fear. So when we got home, we went into quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
One apartment for the athletes, one for the coaches. I started doing paranoid routines that I'm not gonna get sick.
Yeah.
And then Lasse calls me. He got tested positive. Thanks for that, because I could have stayed at home in the safest place, but because they just had COVID. So my first week in China wasn't funny. I didn't sleep very much.
Oh my God.
But then the whole competition was just like the best experience ever.
Yeah.
Standing up there, and then everything was like in a film. And I had this feeling in the morning, like either we have a few on the podium or one high up, but not really. So there was a little bit of a feeling, but then when he skied that run, I thought, oh my God, that can go far.
Yeah, that's really cool. It was it was awesome to watch. We were actually in, I think at St. Coma at that time for the NORAM. So they had it live on TV and we were watching it. It was, and so you kind of had a little bit of an idea and a feeling just watching some of the training and some of the prep, like going into it, you knew that somebody was gonna be able to get
They
a
all
result.
skied well, but we were kind of in a difficult situation. I mean, Walter was there, and he definitely wanted it.
Yeah.
But then I had 3 other ones that could be also podium. That
Sure. Yeah.
But 2 had decided that it's going to be the last season. So that's always a little bit of a problem on the mental side.
Right.
And for the 4th one, it was the first Olympics. So yeah.
Gotcha.
So I was just hoping for that they could blend it out a little bit and just like
Stay on track. Yeah. That's awesome. No, he skied great, and I'm sure your crew is ready and looking forward to World Champs this year in Engadine. That should be pretty good. I'm excited to check out Lavinia for the test event.
Oh yeah.
Now I heard they used to do like a World Cup back in the day there.
There was World Cups and there was Europa Cups, and there was also FIS competitions. There was good memories to that place.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, a little bit of a switch up this year.
I think it was a FIS race when both me and Margarita won at the same day.
Okay, good. Well, yeah, really good memories then for Lavinia. Nice.
But I don't think we had competitions. Like at least when I was there, the competition was never on the same slope. Sometimes it was high up, and then it was in the little bit further down, and then for World Cup finals it was on another place. So
they've kind
it's
of
really be exciting to see the new place, and we saw it from the Europa Cup, but now they did some dirt work also.
Right. Yeah. I saw that they did a little work on it.
Oh.
Interesting. Well, it should be good. So, do you think? How much do you think part of the growth in that group? Right. You talk about that tight bond and everything that they had, and you can kind of see how they push each other, and even though they're not all the same personality, but they're friends and like they're competitive with each other, right? How much do you think that kind of plays a role in being able to have such a dominant and amazing group? I've had other people on the podcast that have kind of talked about that, just the tight-knit aspect of had Chuck Martin on, Bobby Allegary talk about how that crew at a Killington kind of back in the day, and I'm sure you've seen it over the years with like the ski team, right? You have some of those different clubs, whether it's the kids from Vail that are pushing each other, and you kind of see 3 or 4 of them come out. Steamboat has a little group of 4 or 5 kids, and you can kind of see that just like. So is it just kind of, I guess what I'm asking is how hard is that to be able to replicate? Because when you get that group and you have that core, you really, at least over the history, see a lot of results come from that 4 or 5, 6 kids.
I'm not sure if you can replicate things like that.
Yeah.
Because like they were growing naturally, because like the Swedish mogul skiing community is a little bit smaller. And like in the wintertime, we basically have one slope for training.
Okay. Yeah.
which is Åre. Now in the preseason we have Idre, and then it's Åre. There's a few other ones, but they are not as like a competition course. So
Okay.
they're mostly a little flatter. So they can do training, but it's not the same thing. So, but they all know each other from like being little kids.
Mm-hmm.
So like they were growing up together. So
Gotcha. So you think that that's more of it's a hard, because I feel like if you had the right to be able to try and like replicate those friends, I mean, you know, you could really create something. But it's interesting to see
and
those
then
different streaks.
as soon as you have the first one from this group succeed, then it gives a boost to the younger ones in the back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And and especially because it's their buddy, right? They want to beat, you know, like Philip sees the success of Walter, and then Albin and Neil, and Osh, like, you know,
Walter's Olympic win, that lighted the fire.
Yeah.
But then also like when Philip started to come on the podium, like that lighted a fire on this other little kids there. They were already in there, but even I want to be there as well.
Mm-hmm. And have you started to see some like you have the one mountain, you have all those kids, or there's only a couple different spots, but is it healthy, and does it seem like, you know, there's a lot of interest? Because it seems like at least the last like 2 or 3 years since we've, you know, it was already kind of growing here, and it seems like it's really, obviously with Walter's result and everything else and the success of the team, it seems like it's really getting bigger and bigger.
It is like, especially with also with Stockholm. Like Stockholm almost has the biggest clubs now.
Really?
But there's a lot of people living in that town. Like Åre is a little village.
Yep. So it's growing.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Keep the sport going. Now we got duels in too.
And then we also get a little bit going in the north. I think the north has quite a potential, and north has quite a good history also in mogul skiing.
Okay.
So we need to reactivate that part a little bit more up there.
Blinded here by that sun. That sun just moved on me.
And like there's actually a small cooperation going on with Finland from the north, like with the little kids, like to cooperate a little bit with competitions and stuff like that.
Okay. Good. Well, hopefully the future looks bright for our sport. I think it does. I think it's still growing. You know, I think one of those, it's interesting to kind of see some of those other ones like aerials. I'm always curious, like if it's going to continue to kind of be around over the next 4 or 5 Olympics, but I mean, I think with our sport, it really seems like there's plenty of interest from several different countries, you know, and especially like the success you look at, I think it's one of the really unique things about our sport. You look at the last couple like Olympic podiums, right? It's like all over the map. It's not just like some swimming, right? It's
just
US.
Look at the World Championship podium in Pakuriani.
Right.
How many different nations and continents were there?
It's awesome. Yeah.
In which other sport do you see that?
You don't see. So yeah, I mean, it seems like that, and there are so many different powers that I think hopefully we're in good shape for another few Olympics. How much longer are you? Are you a lifer? Are you in this? Is this the passion?
Well, I don't know what others I could do now, because I'm too long in that lifestyle.
Well, you could. What about the graphic design or some of that other?
Yeah.
No.
I'm not so interested. I still do a lot of photos, but I don't post them anymore. So not as much.
Not as much. Okay.
No.
All right.
I took up photography in a different way now, but
good.
That's still happening.
Still happening. Well, thank you so much for coming on and taking time. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you very much.
All right. Bye, everybody.